Hey everyone, it's Amanda, and today I'm doing a very fun little video. I'm going out with the girlies later tonight, and I thought I would show you guys how I do my makeup for a night out. This look is honestly not too hard to achieve either, so I'm so excited to show you how I achieve this look. But first, before we get into it, do not forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and also hit the bell notification so you don't miss any future videos. All right, let's get into it. So I think I'm going to start with the eyes today because I'm doing something a little bit different than I normally do. I think I'm gonna go a little bit heavier on the eyes, and I think I'm gonna use glitter. So I just think it'd be better to do my face afterwards in case there's any fallout or anything like that. I'm just gonna prime my lids with a little bit of concealer. I'm gonna use the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in the shade Light 1 Chantilly. I'm just going to dot that on my eyes and blend that out with a concealer brush. I am on the hunt for a eyeshadow base. I don't really have one that I really love. I would like something with a little bit of coverage, like a concealer, but that'll still make my eyeshadow last all day and look more vibrant when I apply it on top. So if you guys have any recommendations for a really good eyeshadow primer, let me know in the comment section down below. For the most part, I think concealer usually works okay. It really does help cover any discoloration or anything. My lids definitely are discolored and they have some veins and stuff. My skin is pretty translucent, especially these days in the winter. So I feel like adding a bit of coverage on my eyes makes a big difference. So once we have that down, I'm gonna just set it with a little bit of Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Powder. I just like to do this because I find eyeshadows blend better on top of like a base that is set. I don't like my base to be too tacky or too sticky unless I'm applying glitter directly, but I think I'm gonna apply glitter last. So for now, I'm just gonna set it. So I think I'm gonna do something a little bit different today. I'm kind of going for a bit of like a cool, smoky makeup today. I'm going to go in with this Makeup Geek Full Spectrum Eyeliner in the shade Slate. This is just a really nice dark charcoal gray. I'm not sure if they sell this anymore, but this is a really beautiful liner. I'm just gonna focus that on the outer portion of my eye. I'm not gonna be too precise with this. That color is so pretty. And I'm also not gonna take it all the way in. I'm just gonna kind of go halfway across my lid, and I'm going to start winging that liner outwards like that. As you can see, this is definitely not too clean, not too precise, but we're gonna go in and blend that out. I'm just gonna use a tiny little smudger brush and just begin to blend that out and just kind of soften up those edges. Again, this is not supposed to be super neat or precise at this point. We're just kind of building a little bit of a base. And as I blend that liner out, I think I'm actually just gonna drag it in a little bit, like just follow the shape of my crease. That'd be kind of pretty, just to build some dimension. This is basically just a base, like a little bit of a tracer that we can follow for where we're gonna apply more shadow, more liner later on. I also like using my finger to blend that out a little bit just to pat it on top. Anyways, I'm just gonna kind of go back and forth in with that liner. I'm just gonna build that up and blend it out until I get the intensity that I want. I want it to be the most intense right along my lash line and also on the outer corner part here. And again, I'm just kind of taking whatever's left on my brush and dragging that outer tail of the liner into my crease, kind of creating a bit of a kind of a graphic liner shape, but really softened and diffused. Another thing I like to do sometimes is just taking a clean brush and running it all over those areas that you just want a nice seamless blend. This is just a tried and true technique when it comes to blending, taking a clean brush and just going over softly. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that for now. I think it's a good base. I'm gonna move into a little bit of eyeshadow. I'm gonna start building some depth. Okay, so going in with the shade in the Makeup by Mario Ethereal palette, dipping into the shade E5, it's just this cool matte shade here. I'm gonna go over top of that liner just to build some additional dimension. Again, I'm really just focusing the intensity on the outer corners and in the crease. I'm also just running it along my lash line really softly, just to get a seamlessly diffused finish. I'm also not gonna worry too much about this area here because I'm gonna clean it up with concealer later. So I'm just kind of focusing on diffusing that out and not being too precise in that area. So now I'm gonna start layering some black on top of that. I'm going to be using the same kohl liner I used earlier, except in the black shade, but you can use any black eyeliner. I'm gonna be a little more careful to keep this closer to my lash line. And I'm also going to be careful to keep a pretty light hand with this. Again, this doesn't need to be too neat. This is the kind of shape that I'm working with, and I'm just gonna use that same brush I used earlier, and I'm going to smoke that out. I'm gonna do a little bit of the same thing I did earlier and just drag what's left over into my crease a little bit. It's quite subtle, but I love the way all the intensity is out here and it does slowly diffuse into the crease here. I love the way that looks, and I don't think it's too overly dramatic. I think it is just the right amount. I've honestly just taken my time, gone back and forth between adding a bit of liner, blending it out, seeing what it looks like, seeing what needs a little bit more intensity and pigment, and I just kind of repeat that process until I am happy with it. Adding little bits at a time really gives you that control, and it also helps me make sure the two eyes look really even as well, because I can take a look, see if this one needs a tiny bit more, add it in, blend it out. It's actually quite easy once you get the hang of it. Okay, so I think it's time to add a little bit of glitter. I'm gonna go in with this PatMcGrath Intensifies Artistry Wand. This is a really good base for any kind of shimmer shadows. And I'm just gonna apply that on the more bare areas of my lid. So once that base is applied, I'm going to go in with this palette by PatMcGrath. This is the Celestial Nirvana eyeshadow palette in the shade Bronze Bliss. And I'm really gravitating towards this silver shimmer shade. I'm just gonna take a tiny amount on a fluffy shadow brush and just start to pat that on my lid. I know Pat's shimmer shadows are usually super pigmented, so I'm just taking little tiny bits at a time and building that up. Oh, that is so pretty. Oh, that is gorgeous. PatMcGrath will never let you down with her eyeshadows. They are just next level. No one really does it like Pat, especially with the shimmer shadows. I'm just diffusing that shimmer up towards my brow bone slightly. I'm just kind of like flicking that color up. I actually really like this cool kind of silver color as well. I don't ever wear shades like this, but this is a very pleasant surprise. Look how pigmented that is. That is just on a dry shadow brush. If you want more pigment, a little bit more like boom on the eyes, you can apply it with a finger and press that in. I wanted a bit more of a diffuse look, so I just opted for a brush, and I'm really, really happy with the way that it looks. I'm just gonna use that same palette and go in with this dark black shade and really just deepen up the lash line with this. There's hardly any fallout, which is so impressive to me after using that black shadow as well as that shimmery shadow. I think to complete the eyes, I'm gonna apply the tiniest bit of liquid liner. I'm gonna use a black liquid liner by One Size. This is their Point Made Bodacious Black 24-hour liquid eyeliner pen. I'm just gonna be really careful to apply this only on the outermost part of my eye, right along the lash line, pretty much just to intensify that lash line. Okay, so that is definitely a little bit messy, but I'm just gonna leave it as is because I'm going to clean up this bottom edge later on. So I'm just gonna leave it and do the other side. All right, so now to clean that up, I'm gonna use a little Q-tip with some micellar water and just run that along the bottom edge. You could also technically use concealer for this step, but since we're working with black, I don't want to muddy up my concealer, so I'm just going to use a Q-tip. All right, so now I'm going to go in with mascara. I'm going to use the controversial new telescopic lipped mascara. I did try this once before. I'm going to be posting that on TikTok, so if you don't follow me on TikTok, go follow me there. The link to my TikTok is in the description down below. But yeah, I did share my thoughts on the whole controversy thing with Michaela. Honestly, I'm kind of sad by how much hate she's getting and how rude people can be. Obviously, I know that it wasn't a good look. Why lie? Like, that's my whole thing. Why lie to your audience? I don't really understand that, but to be honest, you do have to be discerning when it comes to influencer marketing or any kind of marketing for that matter, because they're trying to sell you a product, and a lot of the time in like makeup commercials or mascara commercials, they will use false lashes or what have you, Photoshop, you know. So basically, I would just encourage you to not believe everything you see online. Obviously, as influencers, we work really hard to like build up trust with our followers and build that relationship, and it takes a long time to do that. So it sucks when influencers lie. But yeah, you'll never catch me leaving a hate comment or encouraging online bullying. I think that is terrible. I actually really hate cancel culture. I think everyone deserves a second chance. I don't think anyone's irredeemable. So yeah, I would also keep that in mind when you see people going through a hard time or getting canceled or whatever. I think the internet would be a much better place if people weren't so rude. I don't mind this mascara. This is just one coat. I'm gonna apply some lashes, so I'm just gonna leave it at one coat. But this mascara is fine. Honestly, there's a lot of other mascaras that I would sooner suggest to you guys over this one. The Tower 28 mascara is so good. I've also really been loving the Lancome Hypnose Drama. The Lancome Lash Idole mascara is incredible. If you're more of a natural girl, the Merit mascara. I should maybe make a video about mascaras. But yeah, this mascara is fine. If you liked the telescopic, I think you'd like this one. I prefer the OG telescopic myself, but yeah. So I'm going to be applying some lashes. These are from Fairy Lashes. These are actually local where I'm from. So these are actually pre-cut lashes, which makes it so easy to apply them. I usually only end up applying like 2 of them. I don't usually apply the whole thing, but this is in the style Flora, and these are just so pretty. I love these lashes. So what I do is I take the inner corner lashes and I'll apply the shortest part in the middle of my lash and the longest part on the outer corner. So I always start at the outer corner and stick the outer corner down first. I'm using the Fairy Lash glue as well, by the way. And then I go ahead and apply the inner corner lash about halfway across my lid. And that is what they look like. I think they look so pretty. They're just long and wispy and natural looking. All right, so we're gonna finish the rest of the eyes later. I'm gonna let that glue dry. And while we do that, I'm gonna move on to the base. I think for foundation, I'm just gonna use a very light layer of the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. I'm gonna just use maybe like half a pump, and I'm gonna use my favorite Hourglass foundation brush, and I'm just gonna try and apply that in the thinnest layer ever. So now I'm gonna go in with concealer. I'm using my NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in the shade Chantilly, and I'm just applying that in all the spots that I need it. I'm focusing that under my eyes because I want it to look really bright under my eyes. I'm gonna take a little bit of this in the center of my forehead, a little bit down my nose and around my nose, and then on my chin. And of course, using my Hourglass concealer brush, this is my all-time favorite. I'm just gonna buff that out. All right, so now I'm just gonna take a dry beauty blender and just press over everything. This is gonna absorb any excess product, and it's just gonna kind of melt everything together. For bronzer, I'm gonna use my Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Shaping Stick in the shade Light Medium. I'm just gonna pick up a little bit of that product on my brush, and then I'm just gonna go straight in with that and just bounce it along my cheekbones. And of course, along the way, I'm gonna pick up my beauty blender and just use that to help me push that product into the skin so that it's super seamless, there's no harsh lines, and it just looks really natural. I'm gonna take this on my forehead as well, really blending it into the hairline. I'm just gonna warm up my forehead a little bit. I feel like we need a little bit of blush. I kind of feel like mixing these top 2 colors from this PatMcGrath Divine Blush and Glow Cheek palette. This is in the shade Nude Venus. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna mix these 2 colors and see how that looks. I'm just gonna use a fluffy angled brush and start applying that to the cheeks. I feel like the blush is a little bit warm for this look, but I'm gonna complete the rest of it and see how it looks at the end. So I think to complete the eyes, I'm gonna take a little bit of this black shadow here from earlier. So I'm gonna use that shadow and ever so slightly connect that to the bottom lash line. I really want this to be super subtle. I'm just using a tiny little pencil brush for this and just really hugging it close to my lash line. I think I might want to do a little bit of a halo eye effect. That sounds kind of fun. I'm going to take a little bit of that gray liner and apply that in my inner corner a little bit. I'm just applying it here because I feel like my inner corner gets super watery, so I just want a little bit of a base for the eyeshadow to stick to. I'm just going to smudge that out. So now on top of that, I'm going to take the shade from the Mario palette, just that cool shade we used to blend everything out earlier. I'm just gonna stamp that right on top of that gray color just to set it in place. I don't think I want to put black in my inner corner just because I feel like sometimes when the bottom lash line on me is too heavy, it's not the most flattering look for me personally. I'm also just gonna blend that outer corner part a little bit with that same shade. Okay, so now I'm gonna take that same Intensifies Artistry wand by PatMcGrath, and I'm just gonna apply that in the center of my lower lash line right here. And I'm just gonna stamp that silver color right in the center. I just realized I forgot to set under my eyes, so I'm gonna do that now. I'm just gonna pat out my concealer, make sure everything is all smooth, and then taking my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless powder in the shade Fair, I'm just gonna press that under my eyes. So I think I wanna go pretty nude for the lips, so I'm going in with my Victoria Beckham Lip Definer in the shade 01 and just overlining my lips with that. So I actually grabbed this lip palette from my Pro Kit and I'm gonna mix a couple shades together. I'm gonna mix Velvet Teddy and then this really light shade up here. This is by Makeup Forever. This is their Rouge Artist 102 lipstick. I love this lipstick to lighten up any look, to make it more nude. This lipstick is stunning. So I'm just gonna start with Velvet Teddy and I'm gonna start pressing that into my lips. I'm mainly focusing this in the center parts of my lips. And then to make this even more nude, I'm taking that lighter shade by Makeup Forever and just pressing that on the centermost parts of my lips. This will also give you the illusion of more pouty lips. I think I'm gonna define the edges a little bit using my Makeup Forever Anywhere Caffeine Lip Liner. It's just gonna add a little more dimension. Since my lips are so dry, I'm gonna go in with the gloss. I'm just gonna use a classic. This is the Dior Lip Maximizer in the shade Beige. All right, that is it for today's look. I love how this turned out. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. I think this is perfect for a night out. It's not too crazy, but it's definitely enough drama that you still feel special. You still feel a little extra done up. I think this is so pretty, and you could honestly do this with any kind of color combination. You could do this with bright colors, you could do this with blues, greens, purples, warm tones, honestly anything. This eye look is super, super flattering. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell notification so you don't miss any future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.